Are you a contractor striving to build a home improvement business that truly thrives? Are you tired of being stuck in the trenches, working in your business instead of on it? Welcome to the Unlimited Contractor Podcast, the show dedicated to helping you build, grow, and maximize your home improvement business. Join us as we unlock the secrets to exceeding your expectations and achieving the business of your dreams. We'll dive deep with industry experts, successful contractors, some of our clients, all sharing our hard earned experience and wisdom. Get ready for actionable tips, proven strategies, and real world examples that you can implement today to transform your business. We're breaking down everything from marketing, sales, operations, and finance, so you can finally ditch the overwhelm and start building a profitable, scalable, and truly unlimited business. Get ready to build your brand, grow your business, and maximize your results. This is the Unlimited Contractor Podcast. Let's get started. And if you haven't already, I would like to give you one of my books, Foundation First, The 5 Pillars of Unstoppable Growth in Your Home Improvement Business, where we cover mindset, marketing strategies, sales strategies, knowing your numbers and your team. If you would like a copy, just go to theunlimitedcontractor.com/foundation-first to receive your free copy. Today I had a conversation with Patrick, the owner of Mindful Painting. We had a conversation about growth mindset and how he's scaling his business from 1.2 million to 3 million. Here's our conversation. How you doing?
Hey, Chris, can you hear me?
Yes, how about you?
Good. Yeah, you're just fine. How we doing?
All right, how about yourself?
Not too bad. Got some snow up here, but nothing we can't handle.
Okay. Where are you based out of?
Worcester, Mass.
Okay. Yeah, we're supposed to get a wintry mix tomorrow. I'm in Eastern North Carolina.
Okay. Did you guys get hit a couple weeks ago too?
Yeah, a little bit. We got a couple inches, but it stayed around for a couple days. That's, I think it was 2 or 3 inches, something like that.
Gotcha. A little different from the typical.
Yeah, well, we don't get a whole lot of snow here. Um, that's typically what it is, a few inches once or twice a year, and but it usually doesn't stay very long.
I wouldn't know myself.
How about where you're at?
We got hit with 14 inches yesterday, and we got about 60-mile-an-hour winds today. So we got snowbanks just about everywhere. A little tough
Okay,
getting to work, but all the guys went out and got plenty of stuff painted today.
okay. Yeah, when it snows an inch or two here, everything gets shut down because people are not used to that kind of snow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so tell me a little bit about yourself and your business.
So, my name is Pat Rolfing. I run Mindful Painting. We've been at it right now. This is going on our fifth or fourth full year. Uh, First couple years, it was just me and another guy doing about 200 to 220,000 a year. Uh, then 2 years ago, we sort of ramped it up, got close to 700,000. Last year, we closed about 1.3 million. This year, we're shooting for three. So in the process of scaling, growing, mixing about 60-40 residential commercial and just keeping ourselves busy.
Okay. What got you into the painting business?
I was a commercial union painter for about 15 years. So I got locked on in Boston. My cousin was a 30-year vet. His father was a 30-year vet, all doing union commercial stuff. Came into the trade realizing that he offered me a job saying, if you can get into the apprenticeship program, I can get you a job. And started out painting in Boston for 20 bucks an hour, which I thought was crazy money at that time.
Yeah. Um, what's it been like going from being a union painter to owning your own business?
It was tough getting off the tools, man, because I'm a painter, I'm a finisher, I'm a commercial production guy. So I want to be, or like in my heart, I want to be on the crew. I want to be producing as much work as I possibly can and seeing the production side of things from that commercial stuff, it's always pretty easy to want to push and sort of get on that crew myself. But quickly realized last year that I can't do it all. If I'm going to be the one selling and managing the production of it all, I got to step back and not show my face as much in the field.
Right. Yeah, it's a big difference going from trying to do the production and actually being a painter to actually running the business and trying to oversee everything. It's a makes it a lot easier when you can try to step back and oversee everything and realize that you don't have to do all the production work yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It was tough sort of getting that balance of it's one of the most valuable things in the business. They're the people that make the money for the business, bringing it in. If production wasn't happening, there was no business to be said so. But I had to leverage my skills and everything that I could do with doing higher leverage activities. Like I had to be selling, I had to be meeting new people, had to be making sure the business's bills got paid, and so on and so forth.
And you said you do about 60/40 commercial and residential,
The other way
60%
around, but yeah,
mostly residential right now.
correct. Yep.
Okay. Um, how have you been managing those doing the commercial and the residential?
Um, so in September of last year, I brought on a long-term sort of friend and somebody I've been in the industry with, somebody, my current project manager, he did the union stuff with me for 10, 12 years. We worked at the same company. At points I was his boss, at points he was my boss. And we built a really good relationship that way. And as soon as he came on as project manager, it was really easy for me to step back in terms of managing production side of things, especially on the commercial side, where he was able to pick two or three of our key guys and say, you know what, you guys have to focus on primarily commercial. You guys are production guys. You know how to spray and back rollout sites. You know how to spray open decks and sort of do industrial coatings as well. You guys focus on this end and then try to separate the other guys out for residential only.
Okay. And you said you started that in September, having him as a production manager.
Yep. It's about
What kind
six
of,
months in now.
okay. How has that freed up your time and how you've been able to run your business by having somebody that can do that for you?
It freed up a lot of time. We're still working out the kinks and firing off the SOPs for exactly what he's supposed to be doing. Sometimes I do wind up stepping in terms of handing off relationships to him. Um, but across the board, I've probably gotten back 20 to 30 hours of my week. And with my current coaching program, we've really focused that into sort of whale hunting and industry partnership stuff. So Chamber of Commerce events, BNI events, trying to go to a golf tournament once in a while, even though I'm terrible at it. Um, that kind of stuff to see if I can get those recurring revenue partnerships rather than that individual one client here, one client there, one client there of residential stuff.
Right. So it's giving you the free time to work more on your business and focus on the more long-term goals than just short-term trying to get the projects done.
Absolutely. I've been able to step back, spent a lot of time reading traction, redoing a lot of redid our VTO recently, and just kind of planning for 6 months out or 9 months out or a year out rather than just planning for what's in front of me. So we're finally got quarterly goals sort of figured out for the next 9, 12 months at this point, really trying to iron out hitting those at this point. It's freed up a lot of time, man. I wouldn't be able to, at the scale that we're at right now, I wouldn't be able to grow any further without having that extra set of hands.
Okay. What are you doing for your project management on the residential side? Does he handle that too, or is that different?
Yeah, he's handling all of it currently. Once we get sales rolling, we've got our goal for the end of quarter two to have a residential sales rep and for me to step primarily into the commercial and industry partner sales. So once that's sort of rolling and we get more sales than we can handle right now, his role is going to shift a little bit to be managing more project managers essentially and being able to handle that side of things.
Okay. And with the how many employees do you have right now?
Right now, there's a total of 10.
10,
Yep.
and they're
There's
split
one.
up between the commercial and residential.
Correct.
Okay. Um, with that, so you said you wouldn't be able to scale and make the jumps you have without putting those systems in place and having a project manager.
Absolutely. My time would be spent, I guess, in the weeds, if you will, more than sitting back and doing these kind of things. Um, I'd be having to make all those Slack communications during the day and make sure all the guys were set up and sending paint around, ordering paint all day. I'm glad that I can step away from that, stay on the front end of sales, and then sort of manage the business behind the scenes. Unfortunately, the guys don't see me quite as much, and there has been a little bit of pushback of lately with that. But across the board, it's been really beneficial. We haven't been more profitable since he's been come on, so it's been a big plus for our business.
Right. Yeah, and it's when you, like you said earlier, trying to go from being into production and hands on, it's hard to step back because you think you got to be in control of it all. But once you can step back, it makes a big difference to be able to take that time and work on your business instead of worrying about the day to day. And that way you can focus more on the long term, which helps all your employees because you're not being as reactive. You're able to be more proactive.
Yeah, that's one thing that we've been working on pretty hard the last 12 months is I was a firefighter for a long time and took basically till September of last year to really step away from that role in reacting to all the little problems that happen during the day and sort of trust the guys to be able to handle it. Like, you know what, sprayers go down once in a while. We end up getting the wrong color once in a while. And you know what, these guys can probably handle it. And I trust my crew leads to be able to handle it this.
Yeah, that's where you, having a good project manager or even a good company culture comes in because you need to, like you said, be able to trust that they can handle things. Because as much as you prepare, there's always going to be things that come up that you just can't control. And
Absolutely.
like you said, if you're in firefighting mode and something like that happens, it's just that one more thing that can set you back. But once you start to have that growth mindset and realize that those are just opportunities for them to learn and you to learn as a company to get through that, then overall everybody's going to do better.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man.
And so you said your goal was to be at 3 million at the end of the year.
All right.
Are you planning on hiring other employees for that, or are you going to be able to do that with the same production team?
No, we're definitely going to be increasing production. I would expect somewhere in the ballpark of 18 full-time painters to be able to produce that work, maybe 20, depending on how things shake out. Um, my coaches that I've been working with are suggesting that once I get about 2 million booked at this point, that I should consider having either an assistant PM or an additional PM to be able to help manage all that work. So I know we're going to be at a certain point of doing 250 to 300,000 a year, a month. And our biggest month last year was like 200 and we were spent. The whole team was really spent doing a ton of hours. I had to come back into the field for a little bit to spray out some large commercial work. And I don't want to fall back into that sort of, let's just keep going. I want to be growing and improving rather than going back on old habits.
Right. Yeah, it's easy to do that once you've been in the field for as long as you have, to be able to want to step in and step back and do some of the painting. But it takes a lot of discipline to try not to do that.
Yeah, it's I'm a equipment and sprayer nerd too, so I'm always buying the new equipment and want to test it out myself, but it's not my job anymore. It's hard to separate that I'm not a painter anymore. I'm the business owner. I'm the estimator. That's the role that I need to be sticking myself into to be as successful as we can be.
Right. And I know you've mentioned it a couple times that you're working with a coach. How has that affected your mentality and what you're doing right now?
Changed everything for me. Originally, I thought there was going to be a cap. Like my 2024 goal was to race to hit $1 million, and I had no uh, really mentality of why. There was no reasoning of what that number meant to me. It was just like something to chase after. And I thought that with with the industry, with the size of business that we were running, with our general locale, I was like, you know what, we're going to cap out at a million, million five, and that's all we can do. And getting involved with the current coaching program that I'm in, they were like, well, if you're building the systems and you're going to 1.5, why not two? Why not two and a half? Why not three? And we ended up reverse engineering it back from what my personal goals were, my 5, 10 year goals with my family and where I want my income to be and where I want my retirement to look like. And we sort of brought that back to see 3 million is about the safe number to where I can be living the life I want to live with owning as much of the business as I do.
Right. And with that, it's helped you, from what it sounds like, get over some of those self-limiting beliefs that you had about your own business and your own capabilities, and opened your eyes to more of a growth mindset than just being stuck where you were at.
Absolutely. Um, I've lived my whole life in scarcity mindset. Had my first kid at 19 years old, and all it was go work until you could pay the bills. And we finally got to that space with the help of coaching, with the help of industry partners and mentors in this business to realize that, you know what, why do it just for the bare minimum? You can push yourself a little bit more, focus your attention in some different areas, and the sky's the limit.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, I was running my business for the first 10 years in the scarcity mindset because I didn't grow up in a wealthy family. It was a pretty lower class family. And so, like you said earlier, the $20 an hour sounded great. But once you start realizing that it takes a whole lot more than that to actually run a business, and while individually you're fighting just to make a paycheck so you can feed your family and keep your kids dressed, $20 an hour and running a business isn't the lifestyle that where you need to be stuck at for sure. It wasn't
Definitely not.
until I started going to different industry events and reading and really learning how to work on the business that it made a difference.
Yeah, man, it all for me started with YouTube, started with listening to Nick Slavic, listening to Tom Reber, listening to all the other guys with their free podcasts. And it was just months and months of implementing, trying their system, see what worked, what didn't work. And it was like, you know what? You could go all day listening to YouTube and go on this rabbit hole of like figuring out exactly what's perfect for your business. But sometimes it's nice to have another set of eyes that's sort of looking from 10,000 feet up and can just go, you know what, maybe focus your attention here. You got a leads problem. You have a production problem. You've got a culture problem. Focus on certain areas of the business to really bring it to the next level.
Right. Yeah, having someone that can give you that guidance. And because, like you said, if you're learning from YouTube and doing all the free stuff, that stuff will eventually work, but you have to test it and see what works and don't work. But if you have somebody that's already done it and then say, hey, do this and this, and then it'll save you a whole lot of time and headache and from, excuse me, save you all that from having to do it the hard way. And even though it costs money to do that, the amount of time you save is well worth it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's the time versus money sort of investment idea. And I was always due to that scarcity mindset. Was like I could learn how to do it. I could figure it out. I did all the carpentry in my house, and I'm not a carpenter. I suck at it. But you know what? It was like I'm gonna plow my driveway. I'm gonna clean everything up. I'm gonna deal with if the burner breaks or something. I'm gonna take care of it myself. And it got to a point where it was like, you know what? There are professionals in this industry. There are professional coaches. There are professional painters and plumbers and things of that nature. And like, I don't need to do all of that. It would be better for me to focus on my lane and then let somebody else take care of the other stuff.
Right. Yeah. That once you're working on your business, the amount of value that you can bring to your business and yourself, and if you're taking the time to, like I said, fight all those fires or learn how to do something the hard way, you're not using your time the best. That's going to help you get closer to your goals. Like you said, you can delegate all the other projects and things that you're either not good at or are not pushing you forward to somebody else. And that saves you a lot of time and money.
Absolutely, man. It's trying like hell to keep that mindset intact.
Yeah. And going back to the employees, how are you have it set up to bring on new employees? What are you doing to attract them?
Honestly, this is a part of my business that I struggle with all the time. Our current process is running an Indeed ad, and between sort of copying, pasting, and working with things that I've learned from Tanner and Nick and so on and so forth, trying to figure out what attracts good people. And we're typically trying to market towards uh, good people that want to come on and work, and we can try to teach you as best we can how to paint. So we run an Indeed ad for 7 days. Once those 7 days are up, my project manager goes through and runs uh, phone interviews that are 10, 15 minutes with everybody he thinks is qualified. At that point, we try to book in-person interviews for the Friday of the following week, and then we do offers shortly after that. So we're trying a 2 week process currently, but the attracting people is the harder part on my end. I'm definitely not looking at it like marketing yet, even though I know that it is. Um, I haven't tried Facebook, haven't tried any other job posting aside from running Indeeds currently, but that's where we're at.
Okay. Yeah. And just going back from when you first started versus now that you have some SOPs and systems in place, and what's been the difference between that hiring process? Is it more structured now?
Very much so. Yeah. Um, and it was really within like the last month and a half, 2 months that things have changed drastically because I was sort of doing it by the seat of my pants. My office admin would run the Indeed ad for 2 weeks, a month, however it is. I'd get overwhelmed by 50 applicants or 60 applicants. I'd try to call as many as I could, set up times to have in-person interviews, but I was never structured about it. And I had a meeting a couple months ago talking about the process to train like training somebody to, or teaching to train essentially, or like teaching somebody to do this task so that they can teach somebody else to do the task. And the whole Doragi sort of idea where I'm passing off this process to my project manager at this point. And now it's, instead of me doing it, I'm holding him accountable to the system that we created together. He had his hands in it, I had my hands in it, and we were able to figure out the questions to ask as well as sort of the time frame of where we think it would be acceptable to bring somebody on. In a perfect world, I'd like to get it a little bit faster. Um, but I think we got a good start at this point. Definitely want to get better though.
Right. Well, a lot of people, the motto is always be marketing and always be hiring. So, but having those systems in place, once you start getting that, it'll be easier. And you already having the processes in place for doing the production actually makes it more attractive to somebody to want to come and work for you, especially you already having the growth mindset and having further out goals versus just being hired for any paint company that just going by the seat of their pants, not really having any end goal in mind.
Yeah, we like it's funny that you speak to that because we've got a company-wide meeting on Wednesday where we're rolling out a new employee bonus structure, paid time off policy, and benefit policy with us as well. So I was always looking at, you know what, I could never offer the benefits that a larger company was. And for me, coming from that union side of things, is a union commercial painter in Boston's making 50 something an hour in the check and all the benefits in the world on top of that. I'm like, maybe in a small business out in Western Mass, there's no way I can offer anything even close to what these guys get. But it's like two different worlds. And when that clicked in my mindset, I was like, you know what? We can offer some things that would make a difference to people instead of the mandatory 40 hours of paid time off over the course of the year. You know what? Let them earn 80 hours. If they come and work 2,000 hours with us a year, yeah, you should be able to take some time off. And whatever we could do to sort of make that easier with a 401k plan or some sort of IRA plan that are we're trying to get set up right now is ideally attracting to that next B plus A talent that we need to keep this thing growing.
Right. And then also, have you thought about putting a referral system in place for your employees bringing on other people?
Honestly, it's never even crossed my mind.
Yeah, you can offer them incentives to bring on somebody that's qualified to be an employee as well. That way they get a bonus for bringing on the right people.
Do you have any sort of ballpark ideas of how you've seen that work out in the past? In terms of a couple $100 if they stick on more than a week or something to that effect?
Yeah, I mean, you can set it up. I mean, you got to think what is a good employee worth to you? I mean, whether it's worth spending 250, 500 bucks, whatever it is, even 1,000. Um, and you can break it up so you're not giving them, if you're going to do a bigger number, just say it was going to be 1,000. Don't give them the $1,000 bonus immediately, but then after 60 or 90 days, you can give them a bigger chunk of it. Then because then if they're going to be coming on with you and they're a good fit and they're already working with you for 3 months, then finding the right employee is worth giving that incentive to do.
Absolutely, man.
And then once you start those like-minded people that are coming in, if you're recruiting B plus and A players, and then they have an incentive to find other people like that, then that's just going to keep growing your team better and you're not having to do all the searching for it at the same time.
Yeah, that would definitely be ideal. It would make a big difference. There's a couple of our team members that are like perfect culture fits that are also uh, sort of young and hungry and smart, really intelligent people that get the business side of things as well and are looking to learn more than just the painting trade. That if I could get two, three, four more of those guys, be off to the races.
Right. And also, because you were talking about giving bonuses for production, and that's just another way that they can get another bonus as well. And
Yeah,
because if they are hanging around people that are like minded to them as they are, wanting to grow and be a part of a company that has that culture, then that's something definitely that can help.
yeah, we definitely tell people as soon as they walk in the door for an interview is leave your ego at the door. We are an accountability and growth minded business. And if you guys don't feel like you're also willing to be held accountable and also interested in growing as human beings, never mind as employees, then we're not going to be a good fit for you because we have probably too high standards than you're used to expecting. And we'd rather have that conversation right off the bat. Um, because the people that I have really close to me in my personal life as well as business life, they are they're growth minded, they're accountable. I've got many accountability partners in this industry, other paint business owners that I love chatting with, and we call each other out on things that don't look right. And I'm going to call out my painters if something doesn't look right. And I hope that they do it to me too when I make a mistake because it happens all the time. I'm not a perfect business owner. I'm learning every single day, and I want people to be surrounded with more people that are like minded and willing to grow together.
All right. Well, that's what it sounds like to me. You're doing is setting that company culture and putting those values in place. So that's another thing that once people see that is going to be able to attract them to want to work with a company like that. They're not just looking to get a paycheck, and they're actually trying to grow and do something with their life. Just happens to be through the painting industry.
Yeah, man. I used to say it all the time because I was such a trades union guy. It's like this changed my life. I made a ton of money slinging a brush, and you could start yourself off with learning as an apprentice and get your way up to a painter or a finisher, a crew lead, a foreman, whatever sort of thing is. Um, there are large commercial and non-union or union and non-union companies doing 30 to $50 million a year, and you could be one of those guys. Um, got to know the right people and practice the right things and get in the right doors, but it's not unheard of. And so I love this industry, man. Love the people that I've dealt with so far. Uh, everybody's kind of, I don't know, it's a different world from where I came out of.
Right. Um, yeah, me as well. Like you said, having that scare, excuse me, scarcity
Yeah,
mindset, um, to where, oh, well, I can only do this and I can do that. But we're all just the same humans. We all have this, just a mindset is the only thing that's different, setting you apart from somebody that's running $100 million business. Just having
yeah, man, we got,
the system and the people in place is that's and having the right mindset. That's all it is. The people that are very successful, they're not superheroes. They're
yeah, we all get the same 24 hours, right?
right. Just about being smarter with your time and what you're doing. When if you're too focused on the short term and the small things that don't make an impact, then you're not focusing on the right thing to have the maximum growth that you can have.
Yeah, it's in that sort of scarcity mindset, it's really easy to look at what's right in front of you, the production problems you might have, the not amount of checks that you want to be depositing in a week, or not getting the sales. But it's like the mentality of the numbers game, as well as being growth minded, is like, you know what? I might have sold a ton of work last week. I might not sell any this week, and then next week we might sell a ton more. But it's going to be okay because it's all going to average out as long as we're doing the work that we need to be.
Right. And it's easy to get stuck in your own self-limiting beliefs and not stay consistent and push forward. And you just got to be disciplined and realize that they are just that self-limiting beliefs. They're not actual limits. They're just limitations you put on yourself. And once you realize that, then the sky's the limit.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with that. That's something that I've struggled with a lot over the course of my life, and especially in the last couple of years. It's that being consistently, or the consistency of staying at a similar pace for a long period of time rather than trying to race to the finish line. Because I would sit there and work 18-hour days if I could and burn myself out, but that only got me so far for a couple of weeks. And then you get to the end of that and you got nowhere else to go. You got to take a rest, you got to stop.
Um, yeah, running that rat race is, I know when I was doing it like that, it just made it not fun. It's not something that's desirable, not definitely not somewhere where you want to stay.
No, you don't want to get up and go to work. Like, this is, I'm sorry to go on a tangent here, but this is something that really reminded me of one of the last times I was doing the union painting work. Was uh, you know what, scarcity mindset. I liked money, all that sort of stuff. I would work the 6 to 2 shift in the morning. I'd go sleep in my car for 2, 3 hours or go have a break, and then come back in at 6 p.m. at night and go spray overnights in office buildings in Boston. And one of the last things before I left that scenario was I was working at Fenway, and we had a 6 to 2 p.m. spray shift. I got about halfway through that shift and I broke down in tears because all I wanted to do was be home with my family. And all I was doing was out there spraying away for somebody else. They didn't care that I was missing time with my family. They didn't care that I wasn't right emotionally or mentally. It was just, here's another body, go paint another thing. And that's, I had to walk away after that. It was way too much physically and emotionally to be dealing with that every single day. And it was like, there's got to be better ways of doing this.
Right. And working hard to be successful, you have to work hard, but you can choose the hard that you're doing. You're going to bust your butt for 16, 18 hours a day and then miss out on time with your family and not doing the things that you like. Or you can make a decision to focus on the things that's going to help you grow and not just work just to make a paycheck or make money. Because while being successful is not all about money, it's about being able to have the freedom to spend time with your family, or like you said, even if you're bad at golfing, to be able to go golfing and do
Yeah,
whatever. There's a lot more to life than just trying to work hard all day, every day.
absolutely. It was for a long time, it was about that dollar amount. And it was about making sure that we had the roof over our
Mm.
head, and uh, whatever it was wasn't going to get evicted or any of those sort of things, and less about the time I was spending away from it all. And now it's more of like, what can I do? What can I spend my money on to get my time back? And what can I spend my effort on to maybe get my time back in 2 to 3 years?
Right. And not that you're not working hard now, but you're just focused on a different kind of growth than just like you said, fighting for the next paycheck. You're actually fighting for your future, not just the next meal or next paycheck.
Yeah, man, it's a longer term game. It's a my goals used to be very much so this week, next week, this month, and now it's 3 months ahead, 6 months ahead, a year ahead, and so on and so forth, just to try to get out of that rat race. Like we're still in it. We definitely need to be working hard. We got to be working smart. If things don't fall into place, things could all fall apart. But um, the way that I've been looking at it lately is just my role in this business keeps continually shifting. Is that I keep continually shifting my goals and my role in this business. I can train other people to do what I was doing previously and eventually get to a point where, you know what, maybe I can't train anybody how to do this specific role, and that's what I hang on to.
Right. And it's now that you're making that shift, you're able to impact more people's lives. Because if you have 8 to 10 people that are working for you now, and then you're trying to grow to possibly 18 or 20, that's that many more lives you're going to be able to impact and help them become better as well. It's not just about yourself.
Absolutely. I love being a part of the PCA. I love being a part of these industry groups that give back and pass this knowledge along to other people because where I came from with the union commercial stuff, it was very guarded. It was union versus non-union. You keep your secrets, you hide them to yourself. No one can spray as fast as you because you have some special thing that nobody else is allowed to have. And then moving on to this side of thing is, you know what? Share that information. Teach the next generation how to do this better than we can, and so on and so forth. Like I want to bring as much, the ships rise in the flood type thing. I want everybody to be growing with me.
All right. Yeah, I never got into the really the commercial industry, but I've worked for several residential painting companies when I was younger, and I've always been interested in learning. But even like the private residential side, there's a lot of people out there, whether it's because they don't really know how to run a business themselves, but they weren't very open to like teaching me anything about the business or how to run the business.
Yeah,
Whether
I
they,
see it. Go ahead.
I was just say, like I said, I don't know if it's because of they didn't really know what they were doing, or they felt threatened, like I was going to try to steal their work or jobs. But I've just always like wanted to learn and grow, but not everybody's like that.
I totally agree with you, and I feel like it's probably a combination, a little bit of both. Uh, where I'm at right now, I find a lot of unprofessionalized businesses in this area, and there's a few that are very receptive to learning, and then there's a few that are very guarded. Like nobody wants to share pricing, nobody wants to share what they're getting from Sherwin-Williams or Ben Moore or what have you. Like no one wants to share their systems, and I'm like, what do you want to know, man? Like my I'm very privileged to have a really good Facebook marketing company that's dealing with our Facebook ads. And I get calls all the time from other painting industries or painting contractors around here. And they're like, how the hell are you showing up on my feed? I'm like, to be honest with you, I don't really know, but call these guys because they're fucking awesome. I'm sorry for swearing.
Yeah, it's all right.
Um, and I remember specifically a conversation with another local painting contractor that does all his bids still on pen and paper, and he's got one cell phone, doesn't have an office line. Phone rings all day. He's in the field painting. He's an awesome guy, but he's not moving with the generation, sort of changing with things. And I remember sitting down having coffee with him, and I was sharing drip jobs with him, and I was sharing my website with him and what Facebook was doing for our business and how we changed from 2 years ago to last year and basically doubled the business. And he sat there tearing up and he's like, I've been in this business 30 years and no one sat down with me and talked numbers ever. I've come up with my pricing in my head. I know what I needed to make money. And then I would pay all my guys 25, 30 an hour and then charge them plus X to get to their point. And he was undercharging me by 20 bucks an hour on average. And I got to imagine probably other contractors in the area too. And it was just a heartfelt moment, but from somebody that just never had that teaching or training. And it makes a huge difference, man.
Right. And a lot of that goes back to what we've been talking about, the scarcity mindset. But once you realize that there's an abundance, you're not, what is it going to hurt you to tell somebody, even if it's locally, how much you're charging? There's enough business out there for everyone. It's
Yeah, I hear it all the time, and I think most of the industry players talk about it. It's like, wouldn't you rather be bidding with people that are bidding the same as you? Like, I don't want to be bidding against somebody that's charging 25 an hour because the value is going to be like the discrepancy is going to be so high. It's either you're going to take the lowest number or you're going to look at me and be like, why are you three times that guy's price?
right. And that value, it's in what you were saying about a lot of the painting and other home improvement industries are not, a lot of the people are not professional, and they don't have systems, and there's not, it doesn't take a whole lot to set yourself apart from other people, to just having a system like drip jobs and something where they can automatically follow up, or just something that's professional like that. It's a world of difference in value than just writing everything down on a piece of paper and handing it to somebody and then praying that they hire you.
Absolutely. I remember this shift a couple of years, or it was about 2 years ago when I started using a marketing company where it was like I needed to sell every job. Every job that I showed up to, I tried like hell to make sure that I was convincing them that I was the best paint contractor. I'd call them a couple of days, a few days later, and like ask them a bunch of sincere questions to make sure that we were still on the same page. And I would always undercharge what I wanted to charge on a job because I was afraid of losing the bid. And then once I realized if I'm at 30 to 40% of my close rate and I'm seeing multiple estimates a day, that's going to be okay. I'm not going to get everybody. And accepting that I'm not going to get everybody was okay for me. It was like really nice for my ego too, because I used to take that hit all the time. Whenever somebody didn't pick me, I was like, they didn't like me, or there was something I did. I threw up on their shoes or whatever it is that I didn't make them happy in the way that I presented my price. But once I realized that not everybody's going to accept you, not everybody's going to, you're not going to have the right value for everybody that you bring to the table. But um, yeah, it's okay. It's just okay. It's that I guess that shift from the scarcity of like not needing every single job to needing one out of three or however it shakes out.
Right. And being able to realize that I'd rather have 30 to 40% of the jobs that I priced right, and everybody's making the money and the growth that they need to, versus 70 to 100% of the ones that I underbid.
Yes.
Um, because, for one, when you're pricing things the right way, you're charging what you need to, you're making the money, your employees are making the money, you're able to grow and impact lives and stuff like that. And not only that, the clientele, they're going to refer people that are like them. And so they're going to tell their friends about you. And hey, he's a little bit pricey, but the experience and everything was worth it. Versus you go in there and do the job cheaper than you normally would. And then, oh, yeah, he did it for a cheap price. So all the people that they refer are going to be price shoppers. And just that little shift, like you said, it's okay to only make 25, 30, 35 of your sales if you're doing it the right way.
Yeah, it was a big difference or from last year to the year before. I did a pretty large commercial job for a local high school. It's a boarding school near us. And it was probably one of my bigger jobs at the time. For me, it was like almost a $90,000 job. And then when I job costed that thing, the numbers rolled in and I was flabbergasted. I was like, how did I get this? I was like, I got this job because I was the lowest price. I didn't get this job because we were picked for the job. We got it because we were the lowest price. And I think my next contractor I was close to 90 grand and the next guy was close to 110. If I was at 110, we probably would have hit about 15% net. But being at 90, I think we were at 3 or 2% net. And it was like, why did I even do this? So much stress, so much aggravation for really nothing.
Yeah. It's hard to, once you start seeing painting projects, tens of thousands or $100,000, you get that big number in your head, and then you're focused on that. And then all of a sudden, once you actually start have to pay the bills to get that project done, where's all the money at?
Yeah, man. It was like, I don't remember specifically. I'd have to look at the job costing, but I know I was well over 20,000 of material for that job. And I was like, where did it all go? All Sherwin-Williams Emerald Rain Refresh on the outside of this building, and just I don't know, a couple hundred gallons of it. It was just like gone like that.
Yeah. Um, so other than hiring new guys and trying to reach your 3 million mark, what other big goals do you have for this year for yourself?
I've got a big goal of removing myself from the residential sales side of things. I enjoy it, but from my experience in the commercial side of things, from being the union painter, the crew lead, or the foreman, to becoming one of their project managers as well as the superintendent of that company, I've seen it on a very large scale. I've seen $6 million paint jobs and things of that nature. We're nowhere near that, but it like I've got a passion for it. It definitely lights a fire under me seeing those larger jobs and producing those larger jobs. So I would love this year to be separating myself from, instead of the individual day to day, 3 to 4 estimates a day, going to meet a bunch of people, I'm strategically meeting these big people that are sending me these large sets of drawings that would keep guys busy for months. I want to be bidding 100,000 plus jobs primarily, maybe 50 to $100,000 plus jobs, mostly off of drawdowns and things of that nature. But that's where I want to shift my effort because I think the needle's going to move really rapidly once I leave this sort of realm of $20 to $30,000 new builds to $100 to $150,000 new builds on the commercial space. I think the room for growth there is pretty exponential.
Okay. Yeah, I believe you said earlier too that you were going to try to bring on a salesperson for the residential. Was that correct?
Yeah, end of Q2 is where my goal is right now. And I'm hoping by the end of Q4 I can be totally out of it myself.
Okay. Um, well, anybody that's listening to this, what would, and they're trying to make that step from being in the scarcity mindset to actually growing their business, what advice would you give them?
I think the first thing I would say is take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and realize it's going to be all right. And trust your mentors, trust the other people that have done this before. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. If you can latch onto a coaching program and get people that have done this before you to show you the path to get bigger or to grow and scale, I would do that in a heartbeat. I think that some of my best personal investments have all come from coaching. And I say it to everybody that I talk to is like, get yourself a coach that knows what they're doing, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, and investing in yourself is the best investment that you can make. Um, and even if it's just reaching out to different people in the industry that are doing better than you, just reach out and ask questions and learn and grow. It just makes a big difference. Um, you don't have to be stuck doing everything the hard way. Um,
Yeah,
it
I
may
totally
take
agree with you.
it may take some time to find the right person to give you the right advice, but just stick with it and investing in yourself and realizing that you're worth that investment is the best thing you can do.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you, man. There's so many good people in this industry that are just a phone call, a text, or a Facebook message away that would give the shirt off your back to teach you something or to get you learning. There's plenty of people that hand over their SOPs or hand over their own systems and back of house bidding software and things of that nature that can really get you to skyrocket pretty quickly. You're not alone, man. You're definitely not alone.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me, and I thought it was pretty valuable to be able to sit down and go over all that stuff we did.
Dude, I appreciate it. I've been meaning to reach out to you for a long time, and I'm glad we finally did this.
All right. You as well. Yeah, and anything questions I can answer for you, or anytime you feel like you want to reach out, just feel free.
Sounds good, dude. I'll stay in touch.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Chris.